Christmas, everybody. We are at the final video of 2023, and I am so excited that I finally talked my bestie friend, Karen Hollon from Fontana Realty, to come in and actually honor me with her presence.
Yeah.
So thank you, Karen, for coming in.
My favorite subject.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
So, Karen, I know that you were a little bit apprehensive about coming in, so I'm not going to ask you too many embarrassing questions, just a few.
Yeah, right.
Okay? I know way too much
I think
about
you know all my secrets. So
we'll keep a lot of those under wraps.
No.
So, Karen, I know that we've known each other, we were talking about it just a minute ago, since 2013.
Right.
So, literally 10 years. And so, how apropos is it that I started my video sessions with Linda Arvanitas, and my first video was with her, and I'm ending, and she was the first person I met when I moved back to Ocala back in the day, and I finish up with you, one of the people that I've known the longest since I've been back in Ocala as well.
I think that we met first time at the Women's Council of Realtors.
I think so too.
Funny you should say that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I just got.
This is going to sound like a really big plug for the Women's Council of Realtors.
So I just got this beautiful award from Women's Council of Realtors here in Ocala for being a platinum sponsor for many years, and this is one of the great things that have come out of my relationship with Women's Council is meeting people like Karen, because you were involved for a long time too, right?
I did. I still belong. I wasn't as active this year as previous years.
Right.
But I do give the Women's Council a big credit for getting me started. I mean, when I first started doing real estate, I started with a charity program with Susan Smith and Omcar, and we did a big fundraiser, and I met a ton of people.
What was that fundraiser? It was
the charity event where everybody decorated the chairs, and we made lots of money, and it was a big, huge event.
It was a blast. And
I did that for several years until YPN took it over. But we had,
remember the old handbag ones too?
That's another WCR one too. Yeah. But meeting the people from that charity led me to Women's Council. Actually, they invited me to Women's Council to do their newsletters for them. I had no idea what that would bring to me. But that created I guess you'd call my team, the inspectors, my lenders, my home inspectors, and it really also saved me since my broker, April, is one of my oldest friends.
Right.
I've known her for 33 years, I think.
Oh, my goodness.
And she's the one who talked me into getting my license, and I thought, she's going to think I'm an idiot. So it was really nice that I had this network of people to fall back on.
And giving them the plug, I mean, that really is what they're all about, is just, networking and being able to support one another in the business of real estate. Yeah, I've just been so fortunate to meet so many fun people and they're long-lasting relationships.
At the very beginning, when I was first doing real estate, we were still having a lot of foreclosures from the 2008 crash. And one day at a meeting, I said, can anybody help me with a
short sale?
A short sale. And Jenny Wright said, well, stay after the meeting. And lo and behold, she sat down and watched me through the entire thing, and that relationship was born after that.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it was really nice.
That's why I'm a big advocate of them. Because just even new agents coming into the business. I mean, if there was any networking group to get involved with, that's probably the one that I recommend the most.
And I have remained friends with almost every one of them. And this is a hard business to interact with people. There's not a lot of social events.
No.
There are not a lot of reasons to get together. And, but it's nice when you go into a contract or go into a closing that you know the people that you're with.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what it is. I mean, just so many vendors, the title companies, the surveyors, the home inspectors, and of course the agents and lenders too. So I know you've been in the business now for a while, and but you didn't grow up here, right?
No, I'm from, oddly enough, accent doesn't come from around here.
Right.
I am born in Birmingham.
Yep.
Spent most of my life in Huntsville. Moved to Atlanta, met my husband in Atlanta, and then we moved here. I moved to Ocala sight unseen.
Why did you move to Ocala?
Well, my husband, we owned Brick City Pest Control, and prior to that, we owned Pest Services, and which is how I got to know a lot of realtors back before there were home inspectors. Right. It was just pest control inspectors, and that was 32 years ago.
Really?
And my husband and I worked at an ad agency, and his dad had owned a fleet of pest control businesses in Lakeland. And when he retired, he tried to get us to buy it, but we weren't interested. We were too full of our, fun life in Atlanta. And he got his real estate license, and the first thing he sold was a pest control business. So that started a whole new business for him. Yeah. And he kept calling us and saying, hey, I've got this business. Yep. You can own your own business. And here we were looking for a house. And I'm like, I'm not going to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere in the suburbs of Atlanta where you can, while you get to go to work every day. And so we ended up being stuck in the middle of nowhere.
In Ocala.
In Ocala.
What year did you move here?
89.
Okay, because I moved here in 85. So yeah, so so you remember like when there was just like nothing here.
The first time I went into a house on top of the world, I was actually working for Castle Carpets.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I called my husband and went, oh my God, I had no idea there were this many houses on this side of I-75.
I forgot you worked there. How long did you work there?
Oh, I don't even remember. I went to help him put a computer in the summer, and ended up working for him and selling window treatments for several years.
Oh, okay. And they're still here too.
Yeah, and I can't even remember what years those were. It was like, I don't know. But then I quit doing that, and was complaining to April constantly about how bored I was. And then I broke my foot, and I was like, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm laid up. I had to have 2 different surgeries, no shoes for a year. Yep. And she's like, you need to get your real estate license. So I finally took a class online, and with my foot broken, and that was
all she wrote. The
very first home I sold, listed, compliments of Karen Cunningham. Thanks, Karen.
Hey, Karen. We just had dinner.
Yeah. She was a mobile home in the fish camp in McIntosh.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was the house that April used to teach me how to enter something on the MLS. And when it came down to mobile home, she went, oh, my God, you're never going to sell this.
And you sold it?
I sold it pretty quickly, and I fell in love with it. The second house I sold, listed, was a mobile home, and I told my customers, I'm going to come back in a couple of days and take pictures. And she had, oh my gosh, she had so many things on these shelves all around the top of the wall, just
I know what you
way
mean.
over the top. And I said, less is best, if you can kind of, tone it down a little bit. I came back 3 days later, and she had a twin bed, an egg crate with a radio on it, and everything was gone. And I was like, oh my gosh. And don't tell April, but I ended up at closing. They were like $1,000 short, which was all I was going to make on the whole job. And I told the title company, I said, just don't tell anybody. I'm not taking anything.
Oh,
it was, but still. And then I became the mobile home queen for Fontana Realty. Everybody that had a mobile home called me. So.
Well, then you paid your dues, because that was the one thing I never wanted to be labeled, but was, because every company I've worked for were one of the few that did mobile homes.
Well, my secret was Zillow. Zillow had just gotten started about the time I was getting started, and I remember paying $250 a month, and I had leads coming. I mean, I had more. I had to have calendars for a file folder for every day of the week.
Oh my
I was so busy showing houses, and I didn't even want to tell anybody. People would be like, "Oh, wow, how'd you get so busy so fast?" And I didn't want to tell anyone. Well, because I didn't want to share.
Right? Of course. Yeah.
And now that same amount of leads would be
about
$5,000-$6,000 a month.
Oh yeah, can you? I know it's
so the big guys consume that.
Yeah. It got to the point where, I mean, over the years, I think they've gotten more. Zillow especially has become our competitor, your competitor.
Right.
So the leads that people are buying from them, a lot of times they don't realize that they've got agents that are tied to them. You can't help but give them the better stuff.
Don't you want to scream every time somebody says, well, this estimate says my house is worth
I
this.
saw something on Facebook today about Santa Claus saying something like, you have a problem believing in me, but you believe what what Zillow tells you your house is worth.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, when I first came to Prime Lending, I invested in Zillow leads for the mortgage side, and it
probably helped.
It did help me get my feet wet with being with a company that didn't have internal customers to drive from, like Wells Fargo did.
Yeah, I was going to say, weren't you with Wells Fargo?
Yes.
that time?
So that was a little stepping stone to help get into it. But once you realize that you kind of have to work them. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you start getting busy, that's a waste of money if you're not literally. I know someone, Karen Camperman, I give a prop to her. She spends money on Zillow, and I mean, she'll stop. She's got it listed money on her phone, so when that call comes in, she's out the door. She doesn't care where she is.
I had one today. I had a call that came in today from realtor.com just as I was walking out the door, and I thought, oh, are you kidding?
Yeah,
because that's the money call, and that's
the challenge. I mean, every time you turn around, I mean, you don't want to. I mean, that could be the $1 million one that you just just gave to somebody else. So, well, outside of real estate, I know Rand owns Brick City Pest. Excuse me. And I know. So, are you involved in that? Do you have to help him, or is he just? Yeah.
Not anymore. It was what I thought we were doing. We moved down here, but that pretty quickly didn't work out.
No,
I love you, Rand.
Listen, there is something to be said about not putting all your eggs in one basket and working with your spouse.
And then I had the kids, and I did a lot of volunteer work, and I stayed home for a while. I met April, the first year I moved here. Within a couple of years, our kids were 4, 3, 2, and 1. And she and I started a babysitting co-op, and it was her suggestion, and we exchanged in time slots instead of money.
Oh.
And I mean, we had
so you guys basically raised each other's kids, right?
Yeah.
Who?
We did. Rosette Looney was in our group.
Oh.
Yeah. And that was great. That was a great way for our kids to get to know people around town. But April's always had her finger in something.
Yeah.
She's quite the entrepreneur.
Yeah, she is. And so you have the 2 boys. I know Sam well. And your other
Sam's living in Aiken, South Carolina, and Bill lives.
Is he in Georgia?
He's in some city in Tennessee. He's in Kingsport.
Oh, Kingsport,
Tennessee.
Where did I just? I just saw somebody. I just did a loan or took an application or something from Kingsport.
Really?
Yeah. So where is that? That's not.
It's right on the Virginia border.
Okay.
He works for Eastman Company, as in Kodak Eastman, and it's gigantic. It's a really.
What does he do there?
He's an engineer.
Oh.
And he is absolutely loves it. They love camping up there.
Any children?
You raise your kids in
you
the
have
most
any grandkids?
beautiful outdoor city, state in the country, and they both move up into the mountains.
Yeah, isn't that funny? My son was the same way. He was like, Mom, I'm never going to stay here. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. And he lives in Virginia now, too. Same thing. He said, I don't consider myself a Florida boy anymore.
It's funny because from growing up in the South, Florida wasn't really the South.
I know.
And you move down here and you sound Southern, and everybody talks about you sound. I get it worse down here than when I go anywhere else.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think I've told the story before, but when I was a regional, I used to travel all over, and I had an office in Tennessee and one in Atlanta. So I would go, to Tennessee, and the manager in the office there would take me to breakfast or something, and we'd go to this little Southern diner or whatever, and I would order whatever, and I go, man, this is some really good Southern food, and well, where are you from? And I go, I'm from the South. I'm from Florida.
Florida, yeah.
And she goes, girl, that is not the South.
I know.
And I never didn't think that Florida was part of the South compared to the real South.
Well, it's very rare that you come across a Florida native.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know?
truth too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
is.
mean, they don't have an accent.
But
Like I can
yeah.
tell, I can pick Georgia, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I can pretty much tell if you're from
Pennsylvania,
Mississippi.
yeah.
But
Florida.
I can't. Florida doesn't have one.
No, that's what people ask me where I'm from because nobody can tell based on who. 'Cause
Where
I'm
are you
just-
from?
My dad was in the Navy, so I was all over, but mainly Virginia and Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
You were born
same.
in Virginia?
No. If you've watched my videos, you would know I was born in Gitmo Bay, Cuba, because he was in the
Oh, that's
service.
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. But I lived there for like 6 months of my
yeah.
life. Yeah. But no, so Sam is a chef,
He is a sous chef
sous chef.
in a up-and-coming restaurant that is just getting started in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh,
and he lives
cool.
in Aiken, South Carolina, which is kind of a tri-city,
Yeah.
part of a tri-city in Augusta. And the chef that he is going to work for won some competition. I wish I knew more to tell you, but I think the name of the restaurant is Salted Tomato or Salted
Okay.
Tomato. And
Now,
she
was
won.
he
She was
award-winning
won some
something?
TV show something,
wow.
and she's amazing.
I'm gonna look
and
her
he's
up.
really excited
Yeah.
to go.
Well, how
work
did
for
he
her.
become? Because I mean, he was in real estate with you. He was on your team, him and Kim, and
He just has an incredibly creative flair that, he just migrated to it.
did he ever
know?
do school or anything for that?
No,
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 really.
I don't know that. I don't. I think most chefs probably don't.
Right. Yeah, they just had a
you're
passion for that.
Yeah, you're either born with it, I guess. But he really found an interest in it, and their dream is to have their own little restaurant,
Aw.
or start with a truck thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
a
really?
food truck. Yeah.
Oh, I could see them doing that.
I know.
I could definitely see them
They're
doing it.
both really hard workers,
Yep.
and
does
know.
Kim cook too, or is she?
and see, that's another thing about Sam is he didn't get any of that from me.
No, I was gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm just not.
No.
I don't cook. I don't.
No, we know what we do well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've said this before too. I mean, my kids, when I ask what their favorite growing up food was, it's embarrassing to tell because hamburger helper,
I know.
burritos, tacos.
Oh, I got mad at them one time when I asked them if they wanted me to pick a favorite dish, and they're like, I'm like, you mean in all of your life, there's not one favorite dish you can tell me that I made?
Yeah, they're rotten to the core. These kids of
I
ours.
told my other son, I said, you inherited your engineering from me. He said, no, I inherited the mechanical part from you. The engineer came from Dad.
Excuse me. Well, you do have a very analytical.
I'm the one I'm a
yeah.
fixer kind of stuff, like do all the repairs and hands-on stuff, and he's probably right.
Well,
but
and you're talented too. So, you've got that part of it. I mean, as far as your artistic part of it too. So I could see where Sam would also be close to that. Yeah.
yeah, I remember he went to visit my grandmother when he was about 3 years old. It was the first trip I ever sent him off by himself with my mother. And he came home and he had gotten all these puppets from my grandmother. And he was playing with these puppets and and my aunt is an amazing artist in Atlanta, and they had stopped at her house, and he came with all these drawings, and I'm like, have I just been missing the boat? I'm out there with trucks, and
Right.
have I just been missing the boat? And his being so creative, and that was almost hard. But Bill the engineer was easy. You just put him out in the backyard,
Yeah, with some Legos
give
or
him-
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shove them stuff, But I just had no idea how to connect with that.
Oh, well, that's surprising because you are. I mean, with your, I know
I'm
you
just
have,
not. I'm like it said, mechanical. I'm just not. Like I can't do freehand stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
No.
I can't draw a picture of a stick man.
But you did some great marketing pieces. I know what you do.
I love
with
to
that.
do the desktop publishing
Yes,
kind of stuff.
yeah.
That's a fun thing for me.
Tell me what you think about the market for 2024. Where do you think we're headed?
All I can say or think is what really April told me years ago. Over the course of the years, there have been times that I've gone to her and said, oh my God, I don't have anything listed right now. Or, what am I gonna do? And she said, don't worry. And it's never failed to return in some way.
Yeah.
So even if it were to get worse, which, with the interest rates, I laugh because I bought my first home at 13%. And I have a feeling that this, I don't know, you probably know better than I do, but I have a feeling we might just stay at this for a while.
The word that we got today, because the unemployment and everything came out, that, feds are holding them. Which is because we've had a good 2 weeks now.
I don't see a big reason for them to go up to 13%.
No, they won't.
But I also don't see a big reason for them to go down
I think
2 or 3% anytime soon.
No, we won't be seeing that. But if we get to the 4 to 5% range again, that will open up. I read an article the other day that literally said if the interest rates drop 1%, it will open up 5,000 new buyers just with 1%. So, I do anticipate. I am very blessed. I've been very, very busy, and so, but I really feel that things have kind of adjusted now, and people have gotten used to the rates. They've gotten used to a lot of the things. Still don't like them, obviously.
It's hard. It's a little harder to predict when a customer says, "Well, what should I offer? What should I list? What should I, how long do you think it's going to take? That kind of stuff." You used to be able to say, well, everyone in this community offers have come in at around 5% of their asking price. Well, you can't say that anymore.
Right.
So things are a little harder to predict in the short term.
And every agent says that. The sellers they haven't quite gotten where they need to be right now, and the buyers think they can go low ball.
Well, they have huge equity and low interest rates. Yeah. Why would they give that up? And new home ownership, new construction is really
great right now.
Yeah, they're kind of doing better, which in Ocala, that's so funny. Do you know where Terry's is on 36th? Where we get the chicken things. So I'm driving by there yesterday on my way to Micanopy, and across the street's this huge subdivision, and I'm like, where have I been?
I know.
I didn't even know that was there.
I know. I think I was telling you the one. Is it 31st Avenue that I'm off of to get to Mary Camp? That main drag where Wells Run and all that is. Yeah. So at the very end of that,
complex.
Just overnight, from last night to this morning, I went there and all the wood is up, so now you can actually see the townhomes and everything. I'm just like, it's massive. We have so much new construction going on, which we need because we need the inventory.
One thing I have told myself that I've learned from this year is don't ever tell anybody that they're not going to build anything back there.
Back there, right. Don't do that anymore. Right. Yeah, I had a.
Oh, they're not going to build anything back. And nope. You're backing up to the woods.
That's right. Those days are over.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you again for coming in. I hope it wasn't too painful.
No,
and I just love this girl to death. And again, I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. And here's to 2024.